Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we will be discussing about the third chapter of Module 1, where in the previous classes we have discussed about planning and nature of planning as well as the importance of planning process, and also we have discussed about the types of plans, isn't it? So the next chapter in this particular Module 1 is organizing chapter. In your textbook, this particular organizing chapter is from the organizing comes under chapter 3 from your whether it may be from Tripathi or whether it may be from Veerbhadra Pavina. This particular chapter comes under chapter 3 there. Okay, so what is organizing process here? So we will be discussing about what is organizing and what is the difference between organizing and organization, and also we will be discussing about which organization is considered as a strong organization, which organization can be considered as a poor organization, and the various types of organization which we have in our society. And also we will be discussing about the nature of organization and purpose of organization. Okay, so here the first concept in this particular chapter is nature of meaning of organization. See, organization is a one which is dependent upon the structure of the organization, which is completely dependent on the structure of the organization. Without a structure of any organization, we can't run a business on the road. We can't run a business on the road. If I want to run a business, then I need one specific structured oriented building where it is considered as an organization. So whenever we come across with a specific word called as organization majorly we call it as enterprise. This enterprise is completely dependent on the structure or the building of the organization. Without an building, we can't run a business, and we can't say that particular business as an organization. So whenever we want to run a business, we need a specific structure oriented organization where it will help us to manage the things and control the things and also actuate the things in a proper manner. Without a proper structure oriented organization, it's very difficult for us to perform any operation related to management. Without a building, can we run a business? No. Without a building, can we manage the employees? No. Without the structure of organization, can we come across with any sort of profits and can we sort out the problems related to the organization? No. So each and every enterprise requires a specific structure, and that structure is dependent upon the various resources which you are going to use in the organization, and it is the one which helps us to perform all the operations related to management in a smooth manner. So this is what a basic idea about organization is. Now, it is an organization is nothing but it is an entity. Entity in the sense, entity speaks about a specific organization or group of organization. It can be anything. Like entity, it can be a company, or it can be an institute, or it can be a general stores, or it can be a tea stall, anything, any type of organization, irrespective whether they are large organization or small organization, irrespective of the size of the organization, it is considered as an entity, where each and every entity in the sense here is organization. Each and every entity is having their own specific objectives. Every organization, whether you take a company, if it is an IT sector, then that particular company will be having its own particular objectives. If we come across with an institutions, like primary institution, they have their own objective. Secondary institution, they will be having their own objective. Combination of primary and secondary will be having their own objective, whereas combination of primary, secondary as well as PU college will be having their own particular objective. Each and every organization will be having their own specific objectives which is meant for a specific organization. Based upon that objective, the employees of the organization has to work. Any organization is that you consider, whether you take a small organization or big organization, each and every organization will be having their own specific purpose. Specific purpose speaks about what you are going to do in the organization. Objective will help you to know what is the specific operation or what is the type of work that you are going to carry out in this specific organization. That is very important here. It is a one which helps you to know what you are going to do in this specific organization. If you take a company, there are different types of sectors. One single company word comes up with n number of sectors. Like there might be a dealership company, or there might be a manufacturing company, or that there might be some service based companies, there might be some non-profit companies, which is nothing but we call it as NGOs. Those are considered as an organization where each and every entity is having their own specific objective, and based upon that objective they will work and they will try to achieve that particular objective. That is what this organization is meant for. And in this there are two types of organization. One is poor organization and the other one is strong organization. What is poor organization? Can you define me which organization can be considered as a weak organization? Have you seen any companies or any organization which you can bifurcate with strong and weak? How you are going to decide this particular organization is not good and this particular organization is good? Let me take an example, and you have to say me the answer for it. Okay, I will take an example of garment shop. Like let us say it is a shop where we can get all the dresses for us. So there are two different shops which provides the same service, So how you are going to decide this particular shop is much better than this particular second shop? How you are going to decide whether shop 1 is stronger or shop 2 is stronger? Yes? Mike, are you people able to listen my voice?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, sir.
My question to you people is, how you are going to decide whether shop 1 is much better than shop 2?
Based on the products they give us.
Based on the products. Both are selling the same type of products here. Fine. Quality. Then?
And how they treat when we borrowing the items.
How they treat you when you are going to buy the items.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Sir, price, sir, based on the price also, sir.
It depends upon the price also. Fine. Then. So the major important thing that you people are looking forward here is what? One is quality and quantity as well as price. Along with that, the major important thing that you will be looking for is the way they behave with you, the employees of that particular organization, how they behave with the customer is also very important. Even though the products are good, even the price is not good, price is less, and compared to the shop 2, if the person of if the employee of that particular organization doesn't behave properly, or if there are no employees at all who can show you the proper dress, if the employee resource is not appropriate, can you achieve the goal? Can they achieve the goal of bringing n number of customers to that particular shop?
No, sir.
No, right? So those type of organization, even though we have the people, one way is, even though if we have resources of n number of dresses of good quality with low price. If we don't have a sufficient employees who can cooperate with the customer and help them and support them in order to buy the product easily, then that particular organization cannot be considered as a successful organization. One thing is we must be polite with the customer. Second thing is we must convince them this particular product is much better than the other product which they have chosen with, and at the same time they have to make them happy by providing some discounts and prices and so on. So this will be more effective work which the employees of that particular organization has to do. What the entrepreneur will do there, the owner of that organization, he will just collect the bill and he will say thank you. But the employees, service is very important in any organization. That is one thing. Second thing is employees are good. I have sufficient employees in my organization. All the employees are of good manner and they are having a very good quality of convincing the customer. Okay, but if my company doesn't have the proper resources which is majorly required for operating that particular organization, proper resource which is majorly required for that particular organization in order to operate it, can we consider it as strong organization?
No, sir.
Why? We have one resource, employee resource. But if I don't have the proper resource, that is just materials which is required for us in order to sell that particular sell it into the market, if I don't have those resources like dust materials, if I don't have n number of resources, and if I have only minimum number of resources, then we can't satisfy the customer. Why? Because the resources are very less. And we can't say them that this is the resource which is available, minimum resource which is available with me, and you have to buy only this particular resources. We can't say that, isn't it? We have to give n number of options to them. So in order to give n number of options to them, we have to keep more number of resources which the customer expects. So then only we can say that this particular organization or this particular shop is one which is stronger than the other organization. If I go to this particular shop, definitely I will get this dress. That mentality will come into the customer's mind only if we have a proper resource and proper employees with good nature and culture. And if they are able to convince the customers, then that particular organization can be considered as a strong organization. The organization which doesn't contain employee resources or resources which are required for the organization to sell the products, then those particular organization can be considered as a poor organization. See, the definition between strong organization and poor organization is strong organizations are those which contributes greater to in order to achieve the success. Whereas poor organization, if they are weak in terms of economy, if they are weak in terms of buying the resources, if they are weak in terms of any other aspect, rather than if they have only the employees in the organization, then it's very difficult for them to achieve. Only employee cannot do anything, even though I have a stuff, even though I know how to write a program in C language. If I have system with me, then only I can write a program. If I don't have a resource which is called as a system, then I can't showcase my talent and I can't run my program and I can't say them that this is what the output that we can get for this particular problem which has been given by the organization. If I want to enhance the things, if I want to encase myself and if I want to showcase myself, then I need a resource as an employee. If I get a resource, then only I can work. Even though I have a talent, if I don't have resources with me, then we can't perform any sort of operations. So those type of resources, those type of companies or organizations we consider as a poor organization. A strong organization which is economically good At the same time, if we have a proper resource with good employees, then those organizations can achieve the success within a short period of time. Those type of organization we consider as strong organizations. This is what the difference between strong and weak organizations. And here there are different types of organizations which are legally accepted by the government of India. The one is cooperative societies, second one is corporations, banks, and then government officers, non-government officers, private sectors, public sectors, NGOs, which is nothing but a non-profit organization. We call it as non-profit organizations. Educational institutes, there are different types of educational institutes in and around the world, isn't it? So these are the things which comes under a word which is called as organization. And here now comes with a specific term which is called as organizing. What is organizing? What is the difference between organization and organizing? What is the meaning of organization and organizing? Yes? Can anyone answer me the question? What is the difference between organization? You came to know what is the meaning of organization, right? Yes or no? Please speak out. Unmute yourself and speak out, or if you are not able to unmute, send a message in chat box. What is the difference between organization and organizing?
Sir, organization means a particular, like if you take a company like that, that is called organizing some fest or anything, sir. Organizing means it is their own tasks, a particular task which they are making.
Organizing in a sense? Please repeat once again.
Sir, organizing means like performing a particular task, sir.
Performing a particular task.
Organization means creating the task, sir.
Organization is nothing but creating a task. Organizing is nothing but performing a task. Sorry, you are wrong, madam. One thing I'd like to tell you is, when you are thinking about performing a task comes with actuating. We call it as directing and controlling. When this actuating process comes, then only the work starts. Organizing is a one. See, organization is a company. An organization must contain resources. So, organizing the resources, arranging the resources to a specific company, is called as organizing process. Organizing is nothing but arrangements. Based upon your organization, based upon your plan, based upon your objective, you have to arrange your resources. Arranging the resources for a specific company based upon the plan which we have planned earlier is called as organizing. Whereas performing the task which you have said, that cannot be done using organizing process. Organizing, just I am going to provide you the resources. I will tell you that today I will be sharing you an assessment, and I will be sharing. If I share you, then I am providing the resource of assessment to you. If I don't share, then if I don't share the resource which is required for writing an assessment today, then if without resource, can you perform the task? Performing the task is nothing but the third step, which is called as actuating. So if you want to act, then you require resource. That resource is nothing but as an entrepreneur, I have to provide you a resource, or as a teacher, I have to provide you a resource of assessment questions. If I don't provide you the assessment question and if I ask you to write the assessment, is it possible for you to perform the operation of assessment?
No, sir.
No, right? So I have to arrange the resource and I have to publish that particular resource to the students, where that particular resource is nothing but an assessment resource. That assessment resource, arranging the assessment resource to the students for further operation or further act is carried out with the support of organizing. Organizing is a process of arranging the required resource, labors, as well as any other related materials to a specific organization in order to achieve the objective is called as organizing process. Each and every organization may be in need of different types of resources depending upon what type of company it is. Isn't it? If the company is related to software sector, what is the major resource that is required for them? One is systems, second one is network, third one is the database, fourth one is storage capacity. Isn't it? So at the same time, the various softwares which are required for them to run that particular company in a smooth manner. There might be some company which might be working on Python. There might be some companies which are working on C#. There might be some companies which are working on web technologies. So depending upon the goal of that organization, the resources differs. So arranging this type of resources based upon the objectives and plans which has been set by the organization is called as organizing process. In terms of organizing, keep in mind we are not going to perform any task, rather than we are arranging the resources. Once you arrange the resources, then only the third step, which is called as actuating, comes into the picture. Actuating is nothing but directing. Directing is nothing but performing the operation by utilizing the resources which has been set by you in the previous step. In terms of management, there are 4 steps. One is planning, organizing, actuating and controlling, isn't it? So once the plan is ready, once you come to know the objective of your organization, you have to arrange the resources based upon the objective. Once you arrange the resources, third step will become active, where the third step is nothing but performing the operation by utilizing the resources of the organization which has been obtained in the previous step, which is called as organizing. Understood? Understood the difference between organization and organizing?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is what about the meaning of organizing here. And here the next concept in this particular chapter is nature of organization. This nature of organization deals with 7 different points, important points, where the first point in this particular nature of organization is always related to certain objectives. See, as I said you, each and every organization, irrespective of what type of organization it is, irrespective of what is the size of the organization, irrespective of what is the economical background of that particular organization, each and every organization, starting from a minute organization, small organization to the large organization, we will be having a set of objectives. Objectives are nothing but goal of the organization, goal of a specific organization. So each and every organization will be having their own particular objective. Based upon the objectives, we will be having n number of functions which has to be carried out in the organization, in order to achieve the objective. For example, let me take an example of can you give me any any organization name, so that I will give you an example for this. Like whether you want to go with software industry or general stores or whatever. You give me the name of the company, I will discuss with that particular example. Just throw me one particular company name or any other general name, whether you want to go with software sector or whether you want to go with normal shops which we come across in and around our society, or whether you want to go with service-based companies.
Sir, Jindal.
Jindal. Okay. What is the role of a Jindal? Jindal's major objective role is to design and develop the iron sheets, which is most essentially needed for developing the iron materials or iron products. Jindal's major goal is to develop an iron sheets. In Ballari, in Tornagal Jindal, they majorly concentrate on developing iron sheets. These iron sheets are those which are majorly used for developing the iron products, whether it may be a chairs or whether it may be related to cots, whatever it may be. There are different types of products which we can come across in terms of iron oriented. So the major objective is preparing a very good quality iron sheets. So that is the major objective. So in order to achieve this particular objective, preparing and developing the iron sheet is the objective. So how to achieve this objective? In order to achieve this objective, there are certain functions which has to be carried out. So functions are nothing but we have to arrange the resource. First is we have to arrange the resource. Who is going to arrange the resource in this particular organization called as Jindal? Resources are nothing but in order to develop an iron, we require certain materials. Those materials are nothing but we call it as resources. The first and foremost material which is required for us is, one is limestone. Second one is the iron related stones, which we call it as I forgot the name, sorry. Let us say it as an iron stones, mining stones. And the third one is white quartz. We call it as white stones, which we use for glass preparation. We require that particular stones also. So first is these resources. These are the major resources which are required for me. So who is going to arrange this particular resource? First function is this. He has to arrange the resources. Who is going to arrange? Manager of that particular plant. Manager of that particular plant will be arranging this particular resources, and he will be giving those particular resources to n number of people who are involved with different functions, in that particular activity of development of product. First function, he has arranged the resource and he has bifurcated those resources to the n number of people of that particular plant, where first people 1, employee 1, he might be dumping those resources to the plant. One particular person will be dumping a mining stone into the plant. Second person might be dumping white quartz into the plant. Fourth person might be dumping the limestone into the plant, and the fifth person might be controlling the temperature of that particular plant, and the seventh person might be doing some other function. So each and one objective, in order to achieve one objective, how many functions we have gone through till now? At least minimum 4 functions, isn't it? Yes or no? So when
Yes, sir.
going to perform the operation on any objective, we have to carry out that particular objective operation with n number of functions, where each and every function will be assigned to each and every employee of a specific designation in a proper manner. We call it as authority and responsibility. Each and every people who is responsible for controlling the temperature, for them we will be giving this particular instruction. You have to maintain the temperature of 100 degree in order to make that particular iron to get iron stones to get melt and convert in the form of a sheets. And whereas the second person they will be representing saying that for this much of material, iron material, you have to provide this much of white quartz material to it in order to maintain the temperature of that particular plant. Limestone for mixing of iron. So these are the different functions. So each and every function cannot be carried out by only one person. Each and every function will be carried out by individual employee of that particular organization, where each and every employee will be having their own work, which is represented in the form of authority and responsibility. So that is what this first point speaks about. Organization is always related to certain objectives, indicates that each and every organization, irrespective of the size and economical background of the organization, they will be having their own set of objectives. In order to achieve these objectives, they need to perform n number of operations by bifurcating or by dividing that particular functions into n number of tasks and allocating that particular task to each and individual based upon each and individual employee based upon the authority and responsibility of the employees. That is what the first point speaks about. Whereas the second point here is an organization connects group of people. As we know, each and every organization will be having either one or more number of people in the organization. Can we run Jindal without taking the support of laborers? Or can we run
No, sir.
our organization RYMC by taking the support of only one teacher for each department?
No, sir.
So what this group of people indicates? Yes? Group of people. So similarly, if you want to perform any task, or if you want to arrange some small event in the department as a student, from the student point of view, from the student side to the teachers, so you require group of people to arrange that particular event, isn't it? Can only one student arrange all the operations which is required to make that particular event successfully?
No, sir.
If I want any event to be successful, then I require a support of group of people. Getting the support of group of people is one of the very important asset of organization. Any organization that you take, they majorly depend on the group of people who are working together in the organization. So organization connects the group of people in the sense concatenates, we say it as concatenates, or making all the people to get together and work on a specific task or on a specific objective of an organization is called as organization concatenates the group of people, or bringing n number of people from different places and making them to sit together and work on a single objective on a specific organization is nothing but the second point which speaks about. Whereas the third point is communication is the nervous system of an nervous system. What is nervous system? Nervous system is one of the major important part of an employee. Nervous system is one of the major important part of an employee, of a human being, isn't it? Similarly, when it comes to the organization point of view, each and every organization will be must and should have a very good proper communication link between the employees of the organization. Any employee, if they don't have
Sir, someone unmuted their mic, sir. Please mute them, sir.
Yeah, just okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So when it comes to the third point, which is called as communication is a nervous system of an organization, It says that each and every employee must have a very good coordination and cooperation and must have a very good communication link between the employees in order to achieve the objectives, in order to achieve the success of the organization. Best example is, let us take students itself. You are the example for me. When it comes to your point of view, do you people have a very good proper communication link among your friends?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
everyone. If there is a proper, like, okay, fine, yes. Now tell me, you have a proper communication link between your friends, in between your friends. Now tell me, what are the advantage of it? You said that you people have a very good proper communication link among your friends. So what are the advantages of it?
We can be free with our friends, sir, and we can share our feeling with our friends, sir.
You can share all your views, all your views, whether it may be a personal or non-personal, or whether it may be related to work or studies, whatever it may be, you will be free and you can have a very good discussion with them, isn't it? If there is
Yes, sir.
communication link between your friends, like we have five people, five, each and all five members are friends together, good friends. If any one student or any one friend is having some guilty nature, and if he is not happy with whatever the success that you are achieving with, can we say that there is a very good proper communication between you people?
No, sir.
Whether can we say that there is a discussion on the like we as a person, third friend is not good with us. Why? Because he is having some guilty nature that this particular persons are getting highest marks and I am getting very less marks, and at the same time he may get into the top position and I may get into the last position. So if they have that particular guilty nature, automatically the coordination and cooperation among your friends group slowly gets spoiled. Slowly it starts spoiling, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Once it starts spoiling, what is going to happen? Can you people be together? Your objective as a friend's point of view, your objective is you must be together. You will decide that all of us must be together until our breath last. But if any one person doesn't have a proper coordination and cooperation among each other, then what is going to happen? Can you achieve the objective of that organization or objective of your friend circle?
No, sir.
No, isn't it? It indicates what? If there is no proper coordination and communication among the employees in the organization, then that organization may not lead to a success. So proper communication and coordination among the employees is must and should required for the employees of the organization in order to achieve the objectives successfully. That is what a communication is a nervous system of the organization speaks about. Whereas the fourth point here is organizing is the basic function of management. Of course, as we discussed earlier, the second basic task of management is organizing, isn't it? Organizing is the basic second task of management process, where it comes with the support of planning. After planning, we will be organizing. After organizing, we will be actuating. After actuating, we will be controlling, isn't it? So it is a basic function of management in order to organize the resources based upon the plan which has been designed in the first step of management process. Once you organize the resources, next it comes with the other task. It comes with the other task. So, and this organizing is not a single task. It is not a one-time task. It is not a one-time task. It is a task which will be repeated n number of times depending upon the requirement of the organization or depending upon the requirement of the work. So that is why we call it as a continuous process. Organizing is a continuous process. Why we call it as an organizing is a continuous process is it is a process which has to be carried out continuously, simultaneously for more number of times until you complete the job of that particular project. Sometimes we may miss the resources. Today I want only one system to work. Tomorrow I may need 2 systems. Day after tomorrow I may need 3 systems. Again after some days I may need 10 more systems and 10 employees to work with this particular project. As the project goes on, the number of resources requirement also increases, isn't it? Yes or no? As the size of the project, now I started with a small project. For that only one person and one system is required. I want to elaborate that particular project bit more. Small project to a minimum project, medium project. Then I require some more resources and some employees. If I want to convert that medium project to large project, then again I may require some more resources. So depending upon the work status, we can arrange the resources every day, every time, depending upon the requirement of the project. So we call it as continuous process. Organizing is a continuous process wherein this organizing the resources is must and should essentially needed for organizing different types of resources on the single work or on a single project whenever it is needed. And this organizing process must be carried out by the manager of the organization. And this is what about the 5th point speaks about. And the 6th point here is concatenate the structure of relationship. Here there are 2 types of relationship. One is formal relationship and the other one is informal relationship. Can you give me an idea of what is formal relationship? A relationship between the teacher and the students. A relationship between the teacher and the students in the college, whether it is a formal or informal.
Formal, sir.
Yes?
Formal, sir.
Formal. The relationship between the student and the teacher outside the college.
Informal, sir.
Informal. There we can be a friendly with you people and we can have a chat and we can discuss together. It is nothing but all the students getting together in one particular place along with their teachers and having a social activities like arranging some events for your teachers and be friendly with them. Those are called as informal relationship, right? So here now tell me, the relationship between the teacher and the student in the college is called as formal relationship. Who is going to design this particular relationship? I am your teacher, you are my student, right? The relationship between me and you all is nothing but the relationship is a formal relationship in terms of I am the teacher and you are the student. Who have connected this relationship between you and me? Understood my question? Understood my question? Who have connected a relationship of teacher and a student in the formal relationship? In the formal relationship, I am the teacher, you are the student. All of you are the student. Okay. So this type of relationship is considered as formal relationship inside the college. Right? So who have connected this particular relationship? Concatenate is nothing but connecting the structure of relationship. Teacher and the student relationship connectivity in the college is considered as a formal relationship. Who have connected this formal relationship in the college?
The organization, sir.
Organization, it is nothing but we call it as management. Management is the one who have given me an opportunity to be a teacher of you, and they have connected a relationship between you and me by providing one specific subject which is called as management and entrepreneurship. Our HOD has provided a relationship between me and you as a teacher of one particular subject for your specific class, where that particular thing is considered as formal relationship. Whereas informal relationship, rather than the college related works, if we people are having a get together party or having some sort of event in outside college, which is not related to the college at all, like some faculties will be coming to you, you will be inviting some only few faculties for the specific function where all the students are getting together. We will be coming there and we will be involving in various activities which you people will be designed and developed there. Those are considered as informal relationship. We call it as getting into the social activities. Getting into the social activities rather than the relationship of teacher and the student. Getting into the social activities without thinking about the teacher and student relationship in order to complete the program successfully is called as informal relationship. So these are the two important relationships which the organization will be having a connectivity with. One is formal relationship, which comes only with the related to the work. Informal relationship, along with the formal relationship, there must be some sort of informal relationship in order to make the employees to refresh themselves. Informal relationship is nothing but when it comes to the teacher's point of view, only teacher's point of view, like in the staff room while doing our work, we will be colleagues. Once we are tired enough, if my organization has created one small informal relationship which is nothing but a canteen. If myself and my colleague, if we both go to that particular place, we won't talk about the work, instead we will talk something else about our personal activities. So that is nothing but we call it as informal relationship. That particular bonding or that particular relationship between the two employees is not created by the management, instead we have created ourselves. That is what the difference that we can say. That is what the difference that we can see in terms of a formal relationship and informal relationship. Whereas the seventh point here is network of authority and responsibility relationship. Network in the sense connectivity. Here, based upon your authority, you will be given with minimum sort of responsibilities, and each and every authority people will be having their own designation. So based upon your designation, you will be having some more employees who will be working under you. For example, if I take a college point of view, authority of a particular HOD is professor. HOD under there will be some sort of associate professor and professors, and along with them there will be some sort of assistant professor who will be working under associate professors, and along with assistant professor there will be some sort of employees who will be acting as attenders and peons in a particular department. The connectivity based upon the responsibilities and authorities is done, which is nothing but a network. It is nothing but a network. One single department will be having one HOD with n number of professors and n number of associate professor. HOD will be ruling all the employees, whereas associate professor will be getting ruled by HOD, whereas associate professor cannot rule HOD, instead they can rule assistant professor. Assistant professor can be ruled by associate as well as HOD, but assistant professor cannot rule associate and professor. Assistant professor is eligible to rule attenders and peons as well as the programmers who are working in a specific department. So this is what the network which will be designed by the organization in order to make the employees to understand what is the role of you in a specific department. This is what about the network of authority and responsibility relationship speaks about. Professor can rule associate cannot rule professor, instead they can rule assistant, whereas assistant cannot rule associate as well as professor, but they can rule peons, programmers and so on. Whereas programmers can rule with attenders, but programmers cannot rule with assistant professors. So this is what the network we can say. This is what the network of authority and responsibility speaks about. Understood, everyone? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
What about the nature of organization is? In today's class, we have discussed about what is an organization and nature of organization. In the next class, we shall discuss about what is the purpose of organization, and we can also move ahead with what is staffing and what is the staffing process which we are going to carry out. In staffing process, we will be discussing about two types. One is internal sources and another one is external sources, and also we will be discussing about steps which are involved in order to select an employee to the organization. So once we complete with these three topics, we will be completing with module 1. Okay? Understood? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So any doubts on all the concepts which I have covered till today? Or you want me to repeat on any concept? If it is so, please let me know. Are you people able to understand the concepts?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Please
sir.
be louder.
Yes, sir.
Nobody have completed with their breakfast, right?
Yes, sir.
Then
Yes, sir.
you are angry, right? You will be you will be feeling something in your stomach. So your voice must be louder than normal one. So you must be louder. You must speak loudly. So no doubts?
No, sir.
Able to understand the
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. Then in the next class, we shall be discussing about the purpose of organization, and also we will be discussing about the staffing process and the steps involved in staffing process. Okay. Fine then. Thank you.